representing Phillips. My chief of staff representing East 75th Street. I'm representing Holmes. Orsu representing Chappelle. Not really North, but okay. Mr. Anderson, Alderman, Kovac, Saginaw, and you. What block are you representing? Yates, Essex, Phillips. There we go. The yeah block. All right. So again, and most of you have packets now. If you don't have one, just let us know. We'll get one to you. Okay. Oh, you got one. Okay. So we'd like to start off. You know, I always say this. I'm so glad I'm in a job where I can pray. And it's so important. So I'm going to ask the board to come up and give us a little prayer for our leaders. As we get started. So I have this part outside, so I have prayer, so everything.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Just asking for you to bow your head.
Put your hat, gentlemen.
We just want to ask the Lord to continue to watch over us, continue to give us the strength that we need to move as a unified force. Give us the energy to work together to settle differences that may come about so that we can all be on one agenda to make things better within our area that will spill over to the city. Continue to move in our efforts, continue to watch our youth. Give us strength and energy for our friends and our family. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Gary, for doing that. So again, for those of you who haven't met me, and most of everybody who's doing this maybe previously, but for those who haven't, I'm Natasha Holmes, I'm the 7th Ward Alderman, and I really appreciate all of you coming out today. If you look at the second page, and I respect the fact that I know a lot of us meet on Saturday, so I get that. I know there are several folks here who probably have meetings going on today, so I want to use our time in the most efficient way as possible. But as I mentioned outside, I wanted to start some community engagement initiatives, and I lust before we love. So we're going to see stuff and like stuff before we love it. So this clean green event that's coming up on April 26th is a real opportunity for all of our blocks to get together and clean up. I'm cleaning up on my block around my office, cleaning up on my block around my house. I'm going to go to, as many blocks as I can during the time frame that people are cleaning to show my support and to lend my help. That's what I did last year. We only had like 4 or 5 blocks participate last year. So this is my real purpose in convening you is to, mobilize you because you have access to the people on your block. And, there's always a future. Let me just bring this up about permit parking. And as I talk to developers, one of the things they said about permit parking is that if you put permit parking in certain places, then people will know who's on their block. Well, we also, particularly in South Shore and South Chicago, we have a lot of multi-family residences. And, people visit those folks, and we don't want to make it such a hindrance for people. But you know what permit parking does? Permit parking lets you know who's on your block. Now, I never agreed to permit parking on my block. I don't know how it happened. I never agreed to speed bumps either, so that's another different story. But at the end of the day, I do know who is parking on my block. And we shouldn't necessarily have to have permit parking to do that. We should know who's on our block. And I had a meeting with an elder statesman, let me say it like that, elder statesman and a colleague, who, talked about urban politics and how, corruption has damaged it, and patronage has damaged it. But what we should do as a community especially is that we have grown on urban politics, and especially in Chicago, where you have the first black mayor of a major urban city in America, where you have the first black U.S. senator, where you have the first black president. We have to build on those efforts that have already been laid. A lot of times we want to criticize young people and say that they are engaged, they don't know, and they don't, because we don't talk about this. We don't talk about the fact that we've come a long way, but guess what? We still have a longer way to go. So I want everyone today to commit to participating in the Clean and Green event. That's on April 26th. The sign up, the last day to sign up is April 18th. If you today want to do that, you just let us know. We will sign you up. You just come to my office. I will provide all the tools that you need. Come to my office, pick up the tools, and let's get out there and clean our blocks. Because at the end of the day, we have to be concerned about the image that is of our community. And I was watching the news actually early this morning, and they were showing some alley up north where there was I think there was like some assault or something on a teenager. And I'm looking at that alley, and I'm like, wow, that alley is really clean. So I want, when they're coming to our neighborhoods and they're filming things that we necessarily don't want to promote, but when they go look down our alley, they're going to see that our alleys are clean. So I want everyone to participate in that. The second thing is, what I plan to do from a community engagement perspective from my office is office hours on the block. So I'm going to tell everybody right now, I am seven, okay? So what I've been doing with kids when I've been going to school, I've been wearing my makeup. I have a wristband on. But I have wristbands out there. So when I say I am seven, I want you to say I am seven. I am seven.
I am seven.
You are seven.
You are seven.
We are seven.
We are seven.
Right. So what I'm planning on doing is having office hours on the block. And I'm calling it I am on your block. And I know I say this because it's funny because I really had this idea last Sunday when I was going to a meeting and I was going down 75th and I got to the corner of Exchange. And I just moved a blue light camera there because that corner is a little hot. And honestly, the blue light camera has been a little bit of a deterrent, but not enough. And so I'm riding down, I'm like, you know what? I need to set up shop right here on the block. You know what? Because if anything, what we can do is we can at least relieve a situation for a certain period of time. When you look at the crimes that have been committed in the last couple of weeks, they happen between, like 1 and 3 in the afternoon. So obviously, what do we know? They're not working. They're not in school. Exactly. So, to utilize that time as an opportunity to take back our corners, to take back our blocks. And that's another thing that I wanted to do with this that I want to start with. I mean, we have a lot of parks in the ward, but the four biggest parks, we'll start with Rainbow Beach, Bessemer Park, huge park. Only place on the south side where we really have protected bike lanes, and we don't have a duty station. Like, we just think about these things. So, Bessemer Park, Merrill Park, and Trumbull Park. Merrill Park. Where is that? number